Welcome back to the Coming Out Happy podcast. We are your hosts, Danny and Keely, and we are so glad that you're here. Welcome back to the show. Coming Out Happy podcast is all about being LGBTQ+, dating struggles, and so much more.
If you like what you hear, make sure you leave us a 5-star review and rating. We can't wait to hear from you. And as always, welcome back to the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Coming Out Happy podcast. I'm so glad you're here. My name's Keely, your host, and this is
Danny, your other host.
We're both your hosts. We're super excited that you're here. I know you're going to love this podcast if you've been listening for a while or you just started listening. Let me give you a little background on a few things that you can look forward to from us. If you're following along on Instagram at Coming Out Happy, I want you to know that we've got lots of great stuff for you over there every single Monday. I'm telling you right now, put this on your calendar. We are going in deep with you on Mondays on our Instagram at Coming Out Happy. We go live at 3 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. EST. Every single Monday, we have new things planned for you that we get to do together, brings a lot to surface, and you really get a taste of what it's like to work with Danny and I in that sense. So go over to our Instagram. Another thing that we're doing right now is we're in the midst of our Dating Authentically AF challenge. We do this every month, or we try to, and really focus on what it looks like to map out your dream relationship. I know you missed the challenge if you're not already a part of it, but right now we have something really amazing going on where you can go over to the link in our bio. You can check out our masterclass where we really dive in with you on focusing on who you are so you can finally call in a partner that's really aligned with who you are. So that's enough of the housekeeping, some things that we have going for you, resources, ways for you to get involved with us. And again, as always, you know that you can send us a DM on Instagram at Coming Out Happy. Really get to know us and make sure that we can support you in the way that you need. So don't hesitate to reach out. Danny, do you have any other reminders?
I think that's about it.
All right. Well, let's get into today's podcast because I know this is the best relationship advice I have ever received. The best relationship advice I ever received was that a relationship will never fix you. And I remember when I was working with my coach at the time, and he looked me in the eyes and he said, Keely, you're looking for a relationship to completely fix you and to take the distraction off of who you are and what you're feeling and what you're trying to navigate by trying to get into all these relationships. And I started to realize that the thing that held me back from finding love that was beautiful and fulfilling and meaningful in my life was that it was me. It was me all along. I was afraid to be my true self. I was afraid to stand up for what I wanted and needed. And I was a huge people pleaser. How many of you can relate to this? Where you feel like you've just people pleased your whole entire life and you're just trying to make up for what you're not. I looked in my life and I felt that I was lacking something, and I tried to find it in other people, and I tried to have relationships fix me. I hopped around for so long, and I wanted to be fulfilled so badly that I would do anything to take the distraction off of me and have a relationship fix me. Danny, can you relate to that?
I definitely can. I was just thinking about my past relationships and kind of thinking about where that happened in my life, and it honestly happened in almost every single relationship. I needed so much validation that I was a good person, and I think that's something that I took into every relationship that I had. I was always going above and beyond and looking for them to say, you're so great. I needed to hear that so often, and I started to realize that no matter how much somebody else that I was with validated that I was a great person, it didn't hit the way that I needed it to. And I started to realize that it wasn't about the other person showing me that I was enough, that I was doing a great job at life or in my relationships. I needed to learn that for myself. Yeah. So I think a lot of us have tried to have people come in and be the voice that we need to hear inside of our own heads by ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, so true, so relatable, and I'm sure so many of you are hearing this and going, oh my gosh, I feel this way, or I've been there. And what we realize at the end of the day is that although we can keep searching, we can keep hopping from person to person, maybe you're dating the same kind of person over and over again, what you'll find is that it'll never complete you. It'll never make you feel whole, no matter the person, no matter what you're doing, what you're looking for. It'll never fill you up because everything that you'll ever need is already inside of you. And maybe that seems cheesy. Maybe people don't like to hear that, but it's so true. Other people can fulfill us in different ways, but the ultimate fulfillment comes from us, comes from your heart. What's already there? And you have that. And my biggest thing is that I was looking for a relationship to fix me because I was afraid to be alone. Now, that's something I open up a lot about because I know so many of you can relate. I was afraid to be alone. I was afraid to be vulnerable and, just being by myself, because how often is it that we sit with our own thoughts? We sit with our own thoughts and we go, wow, lots coming up for me today. Feels uncomfortable. We will do anything we can to distract ourselves from what's actually going on, whether that's relationships, social media. We look for things to try and fix us, complete us.
What we see in, when we're talking to most of our clients and a lot of people on social media is that they've continued to get into relationship after relationship and wonder why it fails almost every single time, why they do not feel fulfilled, why they feel like they're just going above and beyond with these people who don't treat them right. They're just settling for way less than they deserve. They're spending so much time with them and don't know why it's not enough. And the truth of it is, and we say this so much, is that everything starts with you. When you understand that, and you just said this, when you understand that all you need is your own validation, it's your own self-worth, self-love, all of those great things, the relationships that you have completely change. And we were talking a little bit today about codependency. Yeah. We're not experts in that, but I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit today.
I've definitely been a codependent person and, really focused on trying, when you are that way, right? We are so caught up in trying to do for other people. We're people pleasers. You're probably the person at your job that overcompensates and does everything well, and you've done really well in probably all areas of your life, but this one area of your relationships is hurting because you're trying to come in and be the fixer. You're not focusing on yourself, so you're putting the focus on someone else. And that's what we do as codependents. We want to put the focus on everyone but ourselves and really care about them in a way where we can't fix somebody. Just like we said that a relationship can't fix you, a relationship and what you do for someone else can't fix them. No matter what you do, no matter how you try to support and love somebody, you can't heal them. And I think that's something that I needed to hear a long time ago.
And I think a lot of it is us trying to be as kind as possible to the people that we love. But I see so many people staying in relationships so much longer than they need to because there are 100 different reasons. Maybe they feel like they'll never find anyone else. They just feel like they need to stay with that person because that other person needs them. But what about you? What about you finding someone who treats you right and is on the same level as you, is able to take care of you the same way you take care of them? You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And that's possible, but we don't see that it's possible in our lives. And you may not even really believe in love right now because it's failed so many times, but it keeps happening because we haven't done anything different. And that's what kept happening for me until I started accepting and loving myself and started that process, which is a deep process of a lot of deep work that you have to do. You see that it is possible. And I called in a partner like Danny. I attracted her into my life, and it's been the best thing ever because I don't feel like I need to fix her. We are whole on our own, and of course, we're always working on ourselves, not saying we're perfect, and I think so many relationships on social media are portrayed as perfect. We're not perfect by any means, but we know that we don't need each other.
I was just going to say, we're not dependent on each other's feelings to validate ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I was always looking at for someone else. It's to hear that they needed me like I needed them. Yeah. I felt sick to my stomach thinking about the relationships, like when I was in my past relationships, thinking about not having them beside me. Like literally, I was so codependent. I could not act. I could not speak up without them. I was attached to them in so many ways, and I'm trying to think of an example, but it's hard to think about.
I mean, when you get into that and you feel so attached, and that's the, foundation of the relationship is you needing each other, what happens is you usually lose your friends. You
lose yourself.
You lose yourself, and there's a lot of jealousy involved. There's a lot of resentment, and it rises to the surface. It may seem perfect at first because you're all about each other, but we can't be all about one person. We have to love ourselves. We have to have other people in our lives. We have to take time apart. Danny and I, we do this work together. Let's just talk a little bit about our relationship. We run Coming Out Happy together. We both are life coaches here at Coming Out Happy and really focus on, helping people all the time. That's our job. That's what we do. And we're working together all the time. We're also in a relationship. So how do you make time to balance your relationship, the job that you do together, and then also, have time for yourself? So all those three things, and also your friends and your family and all of that. So we have to make sure that we have time for that, and you can't just be all about each other. And we know that we don't need each other to complete each other, and that there's never any tension between that. That's a very understandable thing that both of us know.
But what do we see in the world that we're kind of in today with a lot of relationships?
Well, most of our clients,
some examples, yeah.
Most of our clients, what we see is they've stayed in relationships for so long, and now they have this mindset that I don't care how they treat me. I don't care, as long as they
need them.
Yeah, I need them. I just want to have a partner. I don't want to be alone. I'm afraid of loneliness. And trust me,
I'm afraid time
is
running out. That's a really good one.
Ooh, I'm afraid time is running out. I gotta snag someone quick. I don't know if I'll ever find someone again, and maybe their bad qualities aren't that bad, and you just brush it off. But I've also seen, I just want someone that treats my kids good. I don't care if they treat me good. We've seen that a lot, where you're just settling for, less than you deserve because maybe you don't know what you deserve. But that's where we do the deep work with you, right? That's where we dive in with a lot of people and we start saying, okay, let's break it down. Let's figure out why you're feeling this way. And we really get to know you so that you can heal from this, because we don't change unless anything changes. So going back to our relationship will never fix you. We got to fix ourselves. We got to focus inward. We got to look at ourselves deep, a hard look. And it is uncomfortable. I'm not saying this process is easy. I've had a lot of times where I didn't know where to turn. And that's where I had to get help. I had to get the support that I needed. I had to hire a coach. I had to really invest in my growth because I knew that I couldn't grow anymore. You only do the best with what you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I wanted to give a little journaling prompt for you right now, because I think that would be really helpful for you to start there. Something that kind of popped up for me when you were talking about that was diving into the question, what feelings come up when I'm thinking about being alone? I think that question alone can bring up so many different emotions.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good place for you to start. For whoever's listening.
You'd be
to
surprised
start,
what comes up.
To start journaling down all of those feelings that come up, whatever it is, good, bad, anything like that. Write in detail what feelings come up when you think of being alone. And it doesn't have to go a certain way. There's no right or wrong answers. And you may be single right now and being like, I'm already alone, I'm good. But if anything's resonated with you, I think there's some work to be done at the feelings of being alone, because, you may not be in a relationship, but how often is it that you take time to dive into your own thoughts, to dive into what it's like to not have your friends around you, your family around you, your TikTok around you? How often is it that you actually take time to dive into your feelings? I think it's a great place to start.
Yeah, we keep ourselves so busy with work, and it consumes us. That's a lot of our clients. They're so busy with work, they've never taken time to work on themselves. Mm-hmm. So I want you to know that we're here for you in a really deep way, and I would love to hear how this went for you. If you do it, let's see who does it. A lot of you that do some of the stuff that we say, you send us a message, and it's really helping you. You've seen results, and you were hesitant to do it because you're like, journaling, whatever. But you never know what'll come up. I'm telling you right now, when I first started journaling, I wrote one sentence, and I was very resistant. And 2 years later, when I'm journaling, it's like 7 pages. That's how I process. That's how I get my thoughts out. And so you'll be surprised what happens for you. But I want you to know we're always here for you. That's the best relationship advice we've ever heard, and we want to share it with you. We want to hope you share it with other people as well. And again, if you need more support, please go over to @ComingOutHappy on Instagram. If you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave us a 5-star review, a little comment. We love seeing it, and we can't wait to see you on the next podcast episode every single Friday. We'll see you soon.